Everyone, today we're checking out the Tozo NC2 noise cancelling true wireless earbuds. And I should have reviewed these sooner because these are up there with the best of the best when it comes to your nice bass heavy sound, great clarity, and the rest of the features pretty good as well. So let's get straight into it. If you want to grab a pair, links are down below. So are timestamps, because as usual here, we're going in depth. So if you're picky with your audio, so am I. Let's get into another picky review. Alright, starting with the design of the earbuds, I've got the white version here. These also come in black, and you've got a slightly off-white finish on the outer side of the earbud, bit of glistening action there, and basic smooth hard plastics on the inside of the earbud. Overall look here, it's kind of like a chunkier AirPods Pro, but with this kind of similar design, this means the comfort is very good. Now in terms of ear tips, you're getting 6 sizes included. They come in a nice little case there. I like it when my tips are snug and safe in a case. Nice work, Tozo. The third largest tip worked the best for me. I had to play around with this for a while. Make sure you play around with your tips. That sounds weird, don't do that, but make sure you test all the tips to make sure you get the most snug fit for the best sound quality and the best noise cancelling performance. Something I did notice though, like to get a snug fit, I kind of had to wiggle the buds up and down a little bit, but once they do the little wiggle thing, they stay in completely fine. Comfort is really good. Again, similar ergonomics to the AirPods Pro. A little bit chunkier, so maybe smaller ears. If you have really small ears, they might not work as good, but for my kind of larger ears, they work really well. I can wear these for hours with no issue. When it comes to security, pretty decent for a STEM style design. I can use this when weight training, moving my head around, lying down for a bench press, leaning over for a barbell row. The buds staying completely fine. Running, walking is also completely fine. It's just when I was exerting myself, clenching my jaw, making some weird training faces, the buds budge out slightly more in my right ear canal. My right ear is always the budgie ear, but not to the point of the buds falling out, just a couple of readjustments every, like, I don't know, 5 or 10 exertions of my face. I don't know. Now, if you want to use SpinFit Ear-tips, the CP1025 just didn't work very well for whatever reason, but the CP360 fits on well. They fit in the case, and they do reduce the bud budging out since the ear tips have a little bit more grip. Now, if you like using your earbuds when training, there's an IPX water resistant rating here with the earbuds, as well as a case, which is pretty rare to see in the budget true wireless earbud world. So this means you can get sweaty splashes of water. You can use the buds in the rain. You just can't submerge the buds in water. Now let's talk battery life. Advertised amounts here. Noise cancelling off, 8 hours from the buds. 32 hours total. Noise cancelling on, 6 hours from the buds. 24 hours in total, and in my testing at 70% volume on an iPhone XS, here's what I got. Now, no fast charge here, but there is wireless charging, which is nice to see at this price. Now, in terms of the case design, similar to the design of the earbuds, it's like a chunkier AirPods Pro, so easily pocketable, but a little bit on the chunky side, but considering the amount of battery life you're getting, not too bad. The color here is the same as the outer part of the earbud, kind of that glistening off-white. The hinge is a little bit sloppy, but pairing is very fast. They connect to your phone in under 5 seconds when you take them out of the case. Magnets are very strong, and I do like the 4 LED indicators on the front of the case, so you know when to charge a case up. The only issue I found with the case situation is with the earbuds facing inwards, so no, they're facing outwards. What did I write? With the earbuds facing outwards in the case. So when you take the earbuds out, you got to kind of take one out and rotate it in so it faces your ear canal, then chuck the earbud in. Kind of annoying at first. After like 10, 20 goes, it's something you'll get used to. Now let's talk about controls. Sensitivity is spot on here. No random activations, and it always activates when you use the touch controls. You can control, and you can control everything, including volume. And I do like the subtle beat feedback in the earbuds when you turn volume up and down, or skip tracks forward and back. I'm struggling today. Another cool feature here is in-ear detection, which is at this price a bit of a scary one for me because it's normally not done very well, but thankfully Tozo have done it really well. When you take the earbuds out, one or both, music will pause, chuck them back in, music will resume. And a couple of cool extra features here. If you take one earbud out, chuck it on your desk with the sensor facing down, it will not think it's in your ear, so it won't start playing music. This will happen if you chuck the bud in your pocket, for example. It thinks it's in an ear, but look, a lot of in-ear detection does this, even at higher prices. And another cool feature is when you take one earbud out and you have noise cancelling on, noise cancelling will turn off with the earbud that's still in your ear. I like seeing that. There is no app customization to turn the in-ear detection off or any other features and customized controls, which would have been cool to see, but at least the in-ear detection does work well, so you're probably not gonna have to turn it off. Now let's talk connectivity, Bluetooth 5.2, SBC and AAC codecs. In terms of Bluetooth range, really good stuff. I got 25 meters in my outdoor test that's in a clear open space, and 17 meters in my indoor test that's downstairs, upstairs, through 5 walls. That's as far as I can go. So pretty much the best Bluetooth range when it comes to indoor. Almost the best with outdoor. There is no multi-pairing, but you can use one earbud while the other rests in the case. And if you're using just one earbud, it'll work in mono mode. So you hear both audio channels coming out of the one earbud. Now, in terms of latency with YouTube and Netflix, no issues at all. When it comes to gaming, there is no low latency gaming mode here, but here are all my results on both iOS and Android. Generally, with gaming, if you can get around 400 milliseconds for casual games, you'll be fine. If you want to get some real low latency for shooters and that kind of stuff, if you can get around or below 200 milliseconds, that's as good as it gets. But now onto the indoor and outdoor microphone tests. All right, here is a microphone test with the Tozo NC2. Nice quiet room here at the moment. And this is what the microphone sounds like with some crowd noise being played off my bookshelf speakers, nice and loud right in front of me. All right, and here we are in the outside world with the Tozo NC2. Currently got the transparency mode on, and that means I can hear my voice really clearly. So solid stuff with the transparency. Hopefully it's blocking out the cars behind me as well. All right, before we talk about noise cancelling, a quick little drop on my Instagram so you can stay updated with behind the scenes action of me and my audio ventures. Link is down below. All right, on to noise cancelling. And quickly, how I test my noise cancelling with all my earbuds. I chuck on my soundbar, simulation plane, train noise, any kind of noise, and I test the quality of the noise cancelling like that. And I'm chucking in the Tozo NC2 in that tied number 8 spot for its price. About on average, there are better buds though at lower prices higher up on the list. Now, in terms of EQ shift, that's how sound quality changes when you have noise cancelling on compared to noise cancelling off or transparency mode on. Normally transparency mode doesn't affect the sound quality. There's like a 5% increase in bass and a 5% loss in clarity. So at this price range, very nice to see, not too much of a change in the sound quality. A couple of small issues though, on the current pair that I'm testing with noise cancelling on, there is the slightest kind of static buzzing noise in both earbuds. It is more in the right earbud. I've got Tozo sending me out another pair, so I'll update in the comments if that new pair has no buzzing, so stay tuned for that. But even then, it's only noticeable if you have noise cancelling on with no music playing. Maybe at lower volumes, you can just hear it, but very, very subtle stuff, but I hear these things. Now, in terms of wind noise outside, if you're walking around on a windy day with noise cancelling on and transparency mode on, the microphones will pick up a lot of that wind noise. There is no wind noise reduction. That is generally the theme though with noise cancelling earbuds at this price range. And the last issue is with ambient controls. So when you take the earbuds out of the case, noise cancelling will be off. Tap on the left earbud, transparency mode turns on, tap on the left earbud, and then you have noise cancelling. Then after that, it's only going to switch between transparency and noise cancelling. To have noise cancelling off, you got to chuck the buds back in the case, take them out, and then noise cancelling will be off. So bit of a weird choice there. I remember this happened with an old Tozo bud I reviewed back in the old picky days. So it just must be a Tozo thing. Not too sure why, but sadly, that's how it is. Now, finally, with the transparency mode performance, I rated a solid 7 out of 10. It is a little bit amplified, but this does mean you can hear everything quite clearly. Sounds a little bit digital, a little bit fake, but the main thing with transparency mode is you want to hear what's going on around you. And more importantly, you're able to hear conversations if you're talking to someone in front of you and you're in a noisy environment. So that's good to see, good to hear. All right, now let's talk about the sound of these earbuds. So starting with volume here, if you want some loud level listening at 100% volume, these go ridiculously loud, a solid 9 out of 10 on my loud listening scale. They get a little bit wacky at those high volumes, but if you want to go really high, you'll be fine. Anything above 75, 80%, you're kind of in deaf territory, so no issues there. When it comes to low level listening, at the lowest volume, they go pretty low, but not enough to get my bedtime certification. A little bit loud at that lowest volume, but thankfully there's no white noise hissing sound at those low volumes. Now onto the sound quality itself, and to quickly sum it up, this is some of the best bass heavy V-shaped tuning you can get under $49. So bass here, it's a little bit over the top. If you like your bass, you're gonna like these. A nice boost in that sub bass, but there is more boosting going on in that mid bass, which can create a bit of a bloated sound at times on instrumentation with distorted guitars and even in electronic music. But overall, this is not a natural bass response. I rated a solid 8 out of 10 on my subwoofer bass scale. So if you like a lot of low end, you're gonna like these. Now the mid range here is very impressive. Consider the amount of bass you're getting. I did say this was V-shaped, but it's not really that V-shaped. Like the mids are still a little bit recessed, but all vocals and instrumentation come through very clear, like to the point of like with the amount of bass, and especially with certain buds that I've tested with a lot of mid bass, this can just drown out vocals. But when it comes to male vocals and female vocals in those higher ranges, no issues at all when it comes to their presence. In terms of how good it sounds, like look, it's a $49 pair of earbuds. You're not gonna get the best detail, but very good considering the amount of bass you're getting. And this kind of carries over to the treble. This is why I would say it's more of a V-shaped tuning, because that treble is definitely boosted to the point of getting a little bit sibilant with hi-hats, S's and T's and vocals on certain songs, but mainly when you're venturing above 75-80% volume, which is pretty much as loud as you should probably go with these earbuds. But the boosting here works, again, really well. So you get very nice detail with instrumentation, acoustic guitars, percussion, hi-hats, ride cymbals, crashes. It all comes through really well, despite that little bit of harshness. It would have been nice if it just didn't have that little bit of extra harshness on certain songs at those higher volumes. But I feel like with this kind of tuning, they had to boost it quite a bit, which does add to its overall clarity and detail. And this also carries over now to instrument separation, because this has to be some of the best instrument separation I've tested in this price range for a bass heavy tuning. Picking out instruments in any kind of genre, really nice and easy. That's probably the first thing I noticed when testing out these earbuds, as well as the soundstage. Again, for this kind of tuning, it's quite an open sound, probably some of the best soundstage that I've tested at this price range as well. So overall with the sound, there are some slight issues, like a little bit too much mid bass at times and the kind of harshness in the treble, but for a bass heavy sound and the amount of detail and clarity you get, very surprising at this price range. But to explain the sound a little bit further, let's run through the genre rating checklist. Here are all my results. So with EDM, hip hop and R&B, considering the amount of bass you're getting and the clear vocals, that's why that score is pretty high for this price range. Same with metal and rock. These are genres where on certain songs at times that mid bass can be a little bit too much, but considering the amount of bass you're getting, you get that nice heavy live sound and everything comes through well, your double kicks, your vocals, all that good stuff. Now with indie and acoustic as well as jazz, both sound really great with that boosted treble. It's just at times that treble can get a little bit harsh. And with jazz, bass lines can overpower a little bit as well. And finally, with classical, combine the bass, the soundstage, and instrument separation. It's a good recipe to listen to some classical tracks. Now, hardstyle, trap and dubstep, things you need here, at least in my opinion, loud volume, nice amount of bass. It's exactly what you're getting here. And with that treble, nice mid-range, everything, your synths, your vocals come through very nicely. With trance, I brought it down a bit. The bloated bass can kind of take over the synths. I find a punchier bass response does work better with psytrance, and the bass response you are getting here definitely is a punchy. Same with trance, but the nice treble does work very well. Techno, you want a lot of bass, so it's a nice high score there. Symphonic metal, since you are getting great instrument separation, like orchestration still comes through very well, considering the nice amount of bass you are getting. And finally, movies and podcasts. Again, combining a nice clear mid-range, again, not the most amazing detail, but nice bass when watching movies with a lot going on in that low end. All right, so good stuff overall there, but to explain the sound and features a little bit further, it's comparison time. We're gonna start with one of the latest buds in this kind of rough price range with a bass heavy sound, the Earfun Free Pro 2. So on the Free Pro, you are getting more bass overall, but in terms of clarity, I've got to give it to the NC2. The mid-range is a bit clearer. You do get some more treble detail, even though the treble can get a little bit messy on the NC2. The Free Pro's treble response is dialed back a little bit, which does mean you can listen at those really loud volumes if you are into that. So it kind of depends on the treble response you like, if you're more sensitive to it or not. But in terms of instrument separation and soundstage, slightly better on the NC2 as well. Just keep in mind, noise cancelling and security is better on the Free Pro, but you do have that any detection on the NC2 that works really well. Now compared to the Edifier 330NB, you get more bass on the NC2, and I was going to say better clarity, soundstage, everything. It's another easy win for the NC2. Now compared to the SoundPEATS T2, they have better noise cancelling, transparency mode, and sound-wise have a more balanced tuning, but comparing to the NC2, the T2, again, this is always comparing with noise cancelling on, because the T2 are kind of heavily affected by their noise cancelling, because the T2 don't sound anywhere near as good with noise cancelling on compared to noise cancelling off. So comparing with noise cancelling on, overall you get more bass on the NC2 and you're just getting better sound quality basically. So those three buds are the main buds in this price range that I've tested with a bass heavy sound. You can see the NC2 comes very close and pretty much beats out those buds there. So I've got to compare them to some more expensive buds. So SoundPEATS H1 and H2, both some of the best bass heavy buds you can get under $100. So they're double the price now. And the NC2 comes very close. I'd still have to give it to the H1 and H2. They are slightly better overall when it comes to sound quality with a nice bass heavy sound, but it's great to see the NC2 coming really close there. And another comparison you'd probably ask is the Jabra Elite 75T. They start to push away a little bit more, but they are like 3 times the price. Again, the NC2 coming pretty close. So to wrap it up here, we have another really great contender in the sub $49 price range when it comes to a noise cancelling earbud with a bass heavy sound. Because when it comes to sound quality, they do have their issues, a little bit of extra mid bass, a little bit of treble harshness, but despite that, the kind of clarity you are getting with that amount of bass, very nice to see, very nice to hear, and you're getting pretty decent noise cancelling, your solid transparency mode, and a nice, comfortable, and secure fit, which makes them a great all-round bud, 100% worth the price that they're at. All right, that wraps it up. I'm gonna leave up my Jabra Elite 75T review and SoundPEATS H2 review, two more expensive bass-heavy buds, so be sure to check those videos out if you like your bass. But in the meantime, stay tuned, and of course, stay picky with your audio, because life's too short for crappy sound. See you in the next video. Bye now.